1-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Well, a 2-1 pitch. And a drive in the air to deep right field. That ball headed toward the wall. That ball is out of here! Out of here! A game-winning grand slam home run off the bat of Robin Ventura.
And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza, and the Mets lead 3-2.
High fly ball to left. Back at the wall, and the captain's going deep to the left.
Turner drives one to center, chasing Nimmo back to the warning track right at the fence. He made the catch! Oh, wow! The catch of the year from Brandon Nimmo! He took a home run away from Justin Turner! Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Episode 24. This is the Shea Hello podcast. My name is Casey Lynn. I'm joined by my co-host, former Major League pitcher Bill Pulsifer. We have Stephen White, our producer, in the back as well. And today is a special, very special episode. Before we get to our guest, this episode is brought to you by roots-recordings.com. And without further ado, because this is big, I would love to welcome Mets Hall of Famer Doc Gooden to the podcast. Welcome, Doc. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me. Happy to be on here. Meet you guys' audience. So, been an exciting year so far. Definitely looking forward to more things to come.
Yeah. Bill, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I got my, my boyhood idol on a podcast with us. Get to hear some nice Doc Gooden stories, which I always love.
Yeah. Bill, obviously, you got your, like you just said, your childhood idol right here. And we get to talk shop for, a half an hour or so. So I'm looking forward to it. And, let's get right into it, Doc. Your number's being retired in April, man. Tell us about the feelings, the emotions. You're number 16 at Citi Field for the rest of time. No one else in Mets history will wear it.
The thing about that, like you see different guys like that happen, and that's the highest honor you can be given by a team. And I'm very fortunate. I look at that day as a celebration. And what I mean by that is the fans who've been with me from day one in '84 when I came into the league, they've been with me through my ups and downs on the field, at the stadium, cheering me on. Many times they could have turned their back, but they hung in with me. And that means more to me than anything. I get to share this with my family, my kids. I have 7 kids. My grandkids will all be there. And to me, when people say, how do you feel about this? And I want the fans to know this, and this is coming from my heart. When that happens on April 14th, I want the fans to feel like they're a part of that. So when they bring their kids to the game or their grandkids, and they say 16 up on the rafters, I want them to feel and know that they should feel like they're a part of that as well, because they played a big part of my career. And to get that day, it's going to be special to me from a personal standpoint. And to tell you a little story if I can. If I start talking too much, just let me know. But
oh, no, go ahead, please.
Never.
Yeah. So in 1995, the Mets wanted to cut ties with me, and I understood. I had to go back to rehab. And when I came back, they said, we think it's best you go separate ways. I wanted to make it right with the fans. That was my whole goal. I didn't want to go out like that. So Mr. Steinberg gave me an opportunity to stay in New York. The Yankees were fine, but it wasn't the Mets. I'm a Met at heart. I always been a Met at heart. I signed the Yankees 96 and 97. After the 97 season, I called the Mets. Steve Phillips, the general manager, and I'm not taking shots at Steve or anything. I called Steve and said, hey, I'd like to come back to the Mets. Is there any shot of me coming back? He said, unfortunately, we have no room. We wish you all the best. I signed with Cleveland for 98 and 99. After the 99 season, I called the Mets again. Any openings now, anything to go. Sorry, Doc, it's still nothing here. Wish you the best. I signed with Houston on a minor league deal. I pitched 1 game. I got traded to Tampa, my hometown team. I pitched 8 games. I got released. I call the Mets again, say, hey, I'll come back. I'll go to AAA. I'll do whatever you guys want. They said, we got no room still. So what I'm getting at is all I want to do is come back as a Met and retire as a Met. Even when I went back to the Yankees in 2000, once I retired, I actually can I sign a one-day contract to retire as a Met? I was told no. But now it comes full circle. And everything is about timing. I think the timing is right now. My grandkids who didn't see me play, they get to kind of get an idea of what it was like when I played and have my kids there because my two young kids didn't see me play. So everything is timing. I'm very grateful for Steve Cohen and Alex Cohen for giving me the opportunity to share this with the fans and my family. So that's what's really going to make it a special day for myself. And I tell you, when Steve called me and told me what was going on, I actually thought it was a prank call because you think it might happen, you hear it might happen, but you just don't know. But I'm just thankful and very grateful for the opportunity for this to happen.
Absolutely. Bill watched you when he was obviously growing up, and I want to ask Bill his thoughts of, as you mentioned before, watching your childhood idol pitch. Bill, what was it like? Doc, I'm a little younger. I missed you by just a couple years. Back in the like '86 era,
Yes.
but Bill was there. So I'm wondering how Bill would sum up when Doc would start. Take me through that, Bill.
Well, I wasn't in New York, but I was in Virginia. We had WOR, so I got to watch the Mets play, and it was like NBC says,
Right.
can't miss TV. You want to, especially I was a young pitcher, even though I was left-handed, but I was a Mets fan and a young pitcher, and I could not wait to get a chance to see him throw every 5 days. And the closest thing for you would be like when DeGrom was out
Yeah.
there and doing his thing, and those are two guys that I kind of compare each other to with their dominance when they were at their highest level. And me being, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, when Doc was doing just the special things that he was doing, I wanted to see it every single time I possibly could, just like every New York Met fan. And if I didn't get to see the game, then you wanted to catch on Twib notes with Mel Allen at
Yep.
the end of
Right.
the week to get to see what Doc did special during the week. Obviously,
Yeah.
can't miss television.
Yeah.
Oh,
For a younger fan, if you will, like me, it started with Matt Harvey,
yep.
the Happy Harvey Day, and then obviously DeGrom. Saw you at the Ranger game earlier this week. You and Matt took a picture.
Yes.
That was a really cool picture because Matt is iconic with the Mets, and
Yes.
here you are. Uh, that was kind of cool. Were you expecting to bump into Matt Harvey at a New York Ranger game?
Not at all. It was always good to see Matt. I love Matt, and like Paul just said, how he used to watch my games when Matt was coming up his first couple of years. I used to mark every fifth day to go watch his
Yeah.
game,
Absolutely.
watch live. The same with DeGrom, and
Yep.
Matt had his up and downs. And I was there talking to Matt. I know Matt personally. I didn't know he was coming to the hockey game last night. I just ran into him, was having a bite, and we talked a little bit watching the game. It's good to see he's doing well. That's most important. And he had a nice date with him. He said he's getting ready to get married. So congratulations
Oh,
on that. But anytime
nice.
you see guys that I say family, man, because guys who play in the same organization you become close with. It's like a brotherhood. And I've gotten to know Post over the years, and I love Post, man. He's a great guy, always positive energy, and that's what it's all about. And the main thing now is just making sure everybody's okay, the family's okay, the kids are okay. So seeing Matt was great and special. And I didn't know much about hockey. I was just playing Tampa Lightning. And for me, it's just about getting out the house. So it was fun, though. It was a fun night. I'm just trying to learn.
They put you on the jumbotron, and you had the Rangers hat on.
Yeah.
They actually, I saw they made a mistake on the graphic. Did you
Yeah.
pick up on that?
Yeah, about
It,
two-time world champion.
yeah, it
Yeah,
said
they did.
two-time world champion. You're a three-time world champion.
That's right. They cheated me. The thing is, they did the same thing. I was at the Knicks and Lakers game last Saturday. I'm sorry, and they did the same thing. And I think a lot of people don't know. Like in 2000, I kind of backdoored that one because I only was with the Yankees for like the second half of the season, like the last 2 months. So that's the one they probably missing.
Yeah, I'm actually going to skip over a lot of things to get back to it because you just brought up 2000 with the Yankees. Uh, your first game back with the Yankees, like you just mentioned in 2000, happened to be at Shea Stadium, right?
Yeah. That was
And it
wow.
Incredible.
was
Incredible.
and it was the day-night doubleheader
Yes.
of two ballparks, Shea during the day, Yankee Stadium at night. And it just so happens that it's your first start back at Shea in the day night. and you picked up the win. 5
Yes.
innings, 2 runs. What do you remember about? Here you are back at Shea.
Oh man, it was amazing because like I mentioned in '95 when the Mets want to cut ties, all I want to do is get back to Shea that one last time, and to try to make it right with the fans. Let them know I was okay. Obviously, I can't redo anything, but just so the fans can see me because I've always felt like a close connection with the fans. And when I got released by Tampa, when I called the Mets and they said no, we got no room, and Mr. Steinbrenner called me himself because I was living in Tampa, and the Yankees have spring training in Tampa, and he said, "Do you still want to play?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Show up at the complex. If it don't work out, you come work for me." So I showed up over there. I worked with the late Billy Connors, who passed away now, and I threw 2 rookie games. And I remember the next morning I come to the ballpark, and they say, "Billy's looking for you. You want to see you in the office?" So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna get released. you know, I
That's
go
never
in.
a good sign, right?
Oh
Yeah,
no.
that's never a good time. I go in the office, and Billy said, "How you doing?" He said, hey, "George, want to tell you we need a pitch up in New York." Like it was like a Monday, so it was like we need a pitch in New York like Friday. I'm like, "All right," and he said, "We want you to pitch up there against the Mets at Shea Stadium." I said, "You got to be shitting me."
I
I'm like,
know.
"Wow." I said, "No way." He said, "Yep." And so I couldn't say I'm not ready, which I didn't feel like I was ready because I had set out like a month, and then I went through it. But I said, "Okay, I'm probably gonna get Shea, but at least I get to go to Shea that one last time." And went to Shea. I'm warming up in the bullpen, and it was funny because post, like normally when a pitcher walking down to the dugout to get ready to start the game, it's only the lone reliever or maybe 2 guys walking down to the bullpen. But it was like the whole bullpen was walking down. So I'm sure Mel said, "You guys come down here. It's gonna be a short night because I'm warming up and I couldn't get nothing. I couldn't get anything working." Mel said, "Try this, try that, try this." And Mel wasn't saying anything for like the last 10 minutes, and nothing was working. But when I walked on the mound at Shea Stadium, it felt like everything just clicked, man. I mean, everything was like I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it.
Oh,
I
me
Everything
know.
just
too.
came
Me
together,
too.
man. And the fans was nice. And it was like being home again. And I got the 5 innings in, and Tori said, "How do you feel?" I said, "I better stop now because I didn't want to push it. Take the 5 innings and get out of there."
Uh-huh.
And to get the
Yeah.
win at Shea,
That's
to me,
very mature of you.
yes, that's true. Yeah. And the
That's
thing
very
was,
mature.
I felt like once I got the 5 innings, I got the win. I was happy. My career was basically could have ended that day. I'm happy
Wow.
because all I want to do is go back to Shea that one last time
Yeah.
for some closure. And I had the opportunity to do that. So big hats off to Mr. Steinbrenner for giving the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Casey, can I say
Sure.
something real quick about what he's saying there?
Yeah.
It's so special to me because I feel the same way, and I didn't have the same amount of legendary status, but I was the number one prospect and all that. And for me, being a Met, just like Doc is saying, there's something very, very special about being that. And to hear Doc Gooden say that after
Yes,
all the years and the teams that he played with and all the great things that he did, for him to tell that story to say he just wanted to be back out there at Shea one more time, that's really heartwarming, and that should let people know, even though Mets fans are sometimes disgruntled or they feel like things never go right. When you hear it from a player like Doc Gooden to tell you how special it is to wear that blue and orange
hmm
and to be a New York Met, it really, really means a lot to us players, and that's coming from one of the goats of the organization, and that makes me feel even more pride
Yeah.
about the fact that I got to stand on that same mound that Doc got to stand on, that Seaver got to stand on, that Ryan got to stand on, that Sid Fernandez, all these guys. We can keep going. That's really,
right,
really special, man. I love to hear that, Doc.
definitely,
Yeah.
sir. And that's
Yeah.
coming from the heart.
I know
Yeah.
it.
And,
I
Sir.
believe.
and,
I know it.
and,
Yes,
and we,
sir.
I mean, when you talk, Doc, we feel it too. We genuinely feel sincerity, and genuine, all of it. So, you were mentioning how you were persistent and trying to get back to the Mets all
Yes.
those years, and it's just crazy. You said bananas how you got the Shea to
Oh
pitch
man.
of all teams, and
Yes.
I
How
the
cool.
night game. I got to just bring up the night game because it's a that day night. You know, any Met Yankee fan, both franchises don't forget that day.
Yes.
The uh, buses to the Bronx for the night game, and I
Yes.
think what obviously took over that day was Roger Clemens hitting Piazza in the helmet, concussion.
That's true. My game actually got lost because of that. I mean,
Yeah, it,
it
it,
was
it
initially a
unfortunately
big deal, but when that happened, a lot of people was like, "Oh, you pitched that day game," because of what happened with the Clemens Piazza thing.
a lot of people don't remember that Doc Gooden started that day game,
I
That's
tell
and
you
right.
what, the better story is Doc Gooden starting the day game. That's for sure,
Thank
yeah,
you,
man. That's
brother.
that's the better
and
Yes,
story.
sir. Yep.
hey, Doc,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you because I remember I think it was at the game actually, at Shea.
Yes.
Um, when Bobby Valentine went crazy with the interference call with what was it, Chuck Knobloch, I
Chuck
believe,
Knobloch, yes.
and like, what were you thinking? I've never like that was it's 24 years later. I remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was a crazy play. I mean, Chuck Knobloch he was a gamer, what we call a gamer, a guy that goes all out, doing whatever it takes to win games. And there's a situation where it happened. Bobby probably was right, but obviously being on the Yankees, you got to go to our guy. It was just a bang bang play. I
Yeah,
thought Chuck did the right thing about doing it, but I thought, now looking back at it, probably was interference. To be honest
yeah.
with you,
24 years later, the interference call, Doc Gooden back at Shea Stadium,
yeah,
something that never happens, a day-night doubleheader in two
Two
ballparks,
different
yeah.
yeah.
and
Oh,
then you
What a day.
have right, and then you have Clemens, beating Piazza in the head. I'm
yeah.
not going to ask anybody if you thought it was on purpose, but
I don't. You
I'll
know what? I don't think it was on purpose, but I do think he intentionally tried to knock him down, and
Send a
that
message.
happens sometimes. He does a little bit. He
Like lean
dives
out over
over,
the plate.
and I
Yeah.
think he got caught a little bit. But was Clemens trying to knock him down? Yes, sir. But was he trying to hurt him? I don't. I find that very hard to believe. And I had a quick.
I don't,
I'll tell you a quick story. I had a similar situation. So this was 1992, 92 and 93. Derek Bell was with the San Diego Padres. They had him, Sheffield, my nephew, and Fred McGriff. All three guys are from Tampa, and I'm from Tampa.
wow.
And so back then, at the old Murph Stadium, the bullpen was on the opposite side of the field. So the bullpen was on San Diego side. So I'm warming up, and Derek Bell's running his sprints before the game, and he's like, "Doc, I'm gonna get you tonight. You don't have nothing. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna hit it a mile." And Mel Stoudemire is there. He don't know. Like me and Derek Bell, we grew up together. We shared the same backyard. His mom and my sister was like best friends. So I knew him since I was a kid. So he just kind of ran his mouth, "Doc, I'm gonna get you." So Mel was like, lock him on his ass. I didn't want to tell Mel I know him because I was sounding soft.
right.
So
Oh
so
my
when
God.
I faced Derek, and then plus we had plans to go out that night, all of us, right? So when I faced Derek, I said I'm gonna knock him down just to make Mel happy. And the same thing happened. I tried to knock him down. I hit him in the head,
Jesus.
Oh
and,
my God.
and Derek had to go down the first. He came out of the game,
Oh
and
Oh shit.
it happened. And then after the game, I called Derek to check on him. I got out of the game, see if we
yeah,
still gonna go out. But he was pissed at me, So, but it happens. It happens.
yeah. Here's the question: did you go out with Derek Bell
The thing
after?
is, Derek he said, "No, I don't feel good. I got a headache. I'm not going out."
Yeah.
Right. So we go out to the club, the restaurant. We're in there eating. Who do we see walk in? Derek Bell.
Uh
So
huh.
I get it. He was pissed off. It happens.
He
Yeah.
got over it.
He got over it.
It's
It's part of the
it,
game, man. And
yeah.
guys don't pitch in enough now. Not to hurt guys, to hit guys. But just pitching inside. I think
Yeah.
pitching got away from that a little bit.
Your stories are great because you're connecting all these nuggets that I have written down,
Yeah.
and uh, bringing up Derek Bell, it triggers a question I have. So Derek Bell came over to the Mets in 2000 with Mike
Yep.
Hampton, and Mike Hampton obviously 1 year with the Mets got to the World Series. You know you
Yep.
were on the Yankees,
Yep.
and obviously left, and the Mets got the comp pick for Hampton going to the Rockies. Who was that comp pick? David Wright.
Yep.
Like, hello. So the connection here is with Derek Bell, and this is what I wanted to ask you because this blows my mind. I'm sure you're familiar with this. 1984, they had that January draft where it lasted only 2 years in
Yep.
MLB,
Yep.
where players where teams protected certain players.
Yep.
Only 2 years because it was stupid, or use whatever word you want, in my opinion.
Yep.
And the connection here is crazy. The Mets didn't protect Tom Seaver, and because they didn't think that because of his age and the money he was making, anyone would select him, so they didn't protect him. And obviously, he was selected off the Mets. You're in the minors. You're a teenager, big prospect. That opens, and tell me if I'm wrong. That opens the rotation spot for Doc Gooden.
Let me tell you what I found out about that. You're around. So when Davey Johnson was coaching the Nationals, I found out a true story about that, which I'm glad I didn't know in '84. So 1982, I get drafted. I'm in Kingsport, Tennessee, in rookie ball. Davey Johnson's a roving instructor. So I'm throwing on the side that day, and Davey comes over me. He's challenging me. He goes, "Let me see you throw one down and away. Let me see you throw a four-seamer down and in to a lefty. Let me see you bike through a curveball." Everything he told me to do, for some reason that day I was on, right? So I'm making all the pitches he told me. The next year in '83, I go to Lynchburg, and Davey's the AAA manager in Tidewater. So I started out 0-3 that year, but I ended up 19-4, and they called me to AAA for the playoffs in the World Series. I pitched the championship game in the playoff, and I win the World Series for him against the White Sox AAA team. Davey Johnson tells me, whoever he managed the following year, I'm going to be on his team. So I'm thinking, wow, at least I'll be in AAA. I'm thinking AAA.
Right.
George Bamberger resigned, who was the Mets manager in '83. He resigned. Davey gets the job. Now I'm in the instructional league in St. Pete at the time, and I see Davey. I said, Davey, remember what you told me? Just joking. Yeah, you coming to campus in our roster. But I didn't know, and this is what Davey told me when he was managing Nationals. I was on the field with talk. He goes, we left Tom Seaver unprotected. That was Davey's job, so you can make the team.
Bang.
He knew our team was going to, obviously pick him up, right? So I said, wow. I'm glad I didn't know that then. That would have been too much pressure to know that.
Wow, that's
Because
insane.
every start that I made in spring training, media would come to me and they say, hey, you had a great game, but the front office think you should go to AAA. Me, like a little kid, I'll run to Davy's office and say, hey, they said I'm going to AAA. Davey said, don't worry about it. You're going to make the team. The last day of spring training, that's when Davey told me I made the team. But it was planned all spring because of what Davey had seen the previous 2 years that I was going to make the team. He had that much confidence in me.
He knew you were ready.
He knew I was ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mets front office didn't think so because of my age. And I remember, I don't know if you guys remember Tim Leary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big right-hander. I guess he had got hurt coming up as a 20-year-old or something like that, but he was out of college. They thought he was over, too much pressure, and he was afraid of that. But David said, no, he's ready. I've seen him.
Can I interject and ask a question here? Because this is one of the things that I did want to ask Doc.
Okay.
As me, I was older. I was 21, but I was still the youngest player in the league at the time in 1995. And I was the number one prospect and getting to the big leagues. What I've always wanted to ask you and wanted to wonder is, what did you feel? Because I knew at 21, I just kind of felt like this is kind of the way things were supposed to be happening. Whether I was too young, too old, it didn't matter. Whether I'd thrown enough innings, I always kind of felt like this is the way things were supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like this was just normal. Did you, at 19 years old, feel the same way? Or did you have apprehensions feeling like I'm too young to be up here? Or did you just feel like I'm ready and this is who I am and here I am world?
Man, honestly, like my dad taught me all my mechanics when I was young, and he coached softball, he coached semi-pro baseball for the team. And so when I was a kid, I used to play on the softball team with grown men. So I wasn't afraid of playing with grown men. And my dad used to always tell me, which was hard to do, he said, once I made the team, he goes, okay, when you're facing these guys, make your pitches, don't pay attention to the names on the back of the jerseys, which is easier said than done because Pete Rose is my guy. How did I know I'm not facing Pete Rose? But my thing was, I was happy when I made the team, but when David told me I made the team, I was a little nervous because I said, wow, am I ready? Am I ready now? What happens if I don't do it? And I said, you know what? Just go out there and enjoy this, go hard. So I was the type that I respected everybody, but I had no fear.
Right.
I said, I'm going to go out and do my best stuff. These guys get me, they got me. But tell you what was funny, so I pitched my first game against the Astros, and my parents was there. And after the game, my dad said, son, I got the win. I went 5 innings, 5 and fly, whatever. My dad goes, son, what do you think? I said, I'm good. I should win a lot of games. My next start is in Chicago. I get knocked out in the third inning, give up like 7 earned runs. My dad said, well, son, what do you think now? I said, I don't know if I'm ready. So that quick, I went from I'm ready to not ready. So probably not until the All-Star break, to be honest.
The way you felt.
When I felt like I belonged. They have Nolan Ryan and P. Rose, my guys, but they have Nolan Ryan in the clubhouse with me and say, man, you're awesome. I can't wait to watch you pitch. You're going to have a great career. And to have that gave me confidence. He gave me confidence without knowing he was giving me confidence. And playing against those guys and getting the 3 strikeouts in the All-Star game, all that built me up the confidence. And, pitching is basically mental. It's all confidence.
Absolutely.
And believing in your ability and understanding about making adjustments. And that's what really happened. But it took me probably to the All-Star game to feel like I belonged. Before that, I kind of had doubts off and on. But the All-Star game, once I got there and playing with those guys and being in that same clubhouse with these guys, it was a dream come true because I couldn't wait to get home to call my friends to tell them who I faced that night or who I struck out or whatever. I mean, that was the beauty of it because
I find it interesting that you said something about your father having you play against men in softball and that. I did kind of the exact same thing. My dad did the same thing with me. When I would have my basketball practices, when I was in 8th grade, after basketball practice, the men would come in and take over the gym and they would play pickup games. And my dad would make me stick around and play in the pickup games when I was in 8th grade with the kids that were in their 20s and the kids, the guys that were getting up in their 30s. So another thing that I kind of always kind of felt kind of the same way where I'm not afraid of the man. I respect the man, but I feel like I can mix and mingle. So that's pretty. Yeah. I like that story.
Your dad was a smart man. That's a good move. At the time, we don't understand it. Well, I didn't understand it, but as you get older, then you see what our parents was doing. Yeah, and trying to be the best thing for us. And I was the same way with like Sheffield, my nephew. He's 4 years younger, but like in Florida, the weather was great, so you can play baseball year round. And when the season's over, we're playing against different neighborhoods, and I'll take Gary along with us, even though he was a lot younger than us. But once he got to the major at 19, it was the same type of thing.
That's
Had no
great.
fear. It definitely helps.
Yeah, that's great correlation there. That's
Yeah,
outstanding.
Yes.
a lot of correlations right there. Bill, your first start was against the Astros, and
Yes,
Doc's first
incredible.
start
Oh, yeah,
just
your first
happened.
ourselves all. So we got a lot in common. I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
I know.
yeah.
Pretty
You
cool.
know what's crazy is I gave up 5 runs in the first inning, but I went
Wow.
seven. I went 7 innings that day.
You still give up. You still went 7 innings. I was
Still went
5 and
7.
fly. I gave up 2, but I got out of there after 5 innings.
You know, there's some people that say I should have been out of there before the first inning was even over, but somehow I managed to get 7 innings out of it.
You had a good. Who was
Yeah.
managing the '95? That was
Dallas.
Dallas. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Dallas. That's
big
right.
Dallas.
Dallas is there. Okay,
Big
yeah,
Dallas.
because I had Dallas
And
living in '94
How
was
did
my
you
last.
like
I
Dallas,
just.
Doc? Because I actually like Dallas. I like Dallas. I thought he
Yeah,
was a.
Dallas is cool. Oh, he was
hey,
I
good.
Doc,
like him.
hey Doc,
I
can
like him.
you bring up your camera a little?
Oh,
There
I'm
you go.
sorry. Right
Perfect.
here.
Now we can see you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's
Thanks.
perfect
I,
there.
Yeah.
only time Dallas ever pissed me off, in Houston, the last day on getaway day, they had a chicken fried steak. They always put a chicken fried steak out there. And we lost like 5 in a row, and Dallas turned the spread over. I just flipped the spread over. That's the only time I got pissed at Dallas.
He
But
ruined your favorite
Oh
dinner
man.
in Houston.
yeah, but Dallas is a good man.
Yeah, he
He's a
was
good
a
man.
good man. May he
Yes,
rest in peace. Good man.
Yeah.
yes, yes, sir. I
Salt in
agree.
the wound. You lost all those games in a row, and then he
Oh,
gets rid
yeah,
of the
he
good
picked
food.
the wrong day. I mean, the good stuff. He
Yeah.
turned it over.
I just thought 84 and that whole draft thing with Seaver. You have the two best pitchers in Mets history connected like that.
Yeah.
With Seaver and yourself. So
That's pretty
it,
special.
it really
You,
is
you,
special.
one time the Mets could have had Seaver, Nolan Ryan, who was
Yeah.
there when he was younger, myself, and Roger Clemens was drafted by the Mets out of high school, but he went to Texas.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
The Mets always had pitching, though. You know that, Post. They always had pitching.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, lately it's been a little different, but when we was coming up through the system at every level, pitching. It had a lot of pitching.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
you win. You got to have pitching.
I wanted to ask you, you brought up, and if you don't mind, real quick, about your nephew, Gary Sheffield.
Yeah.
What a career. What a great hitter. Uh, Unbelievable, Hall of Famer in my eyes.
Yes.
I actually replicated his, stance growing up, like everybody.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, so
When you finish, I'm gonna tell you a story about that bat
I'm
with him.
I'm finished. So
No,
I
go
just
ahead.
wanted your thoughts on, your nephew Gary Sheffield's career and all that.
Well, yeah, he was a great hitter, and one of the things I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. He's the only guy that has 100 RBIs with 5 different teams. He had over 500 home runs, over I think 1,000 RBIs, over 500 stolen bases, over 500 doubles. But he didn't get along with the media, and I think the media has too much power. And the one time Barry Bonds threw him on the bus when he said, "Me and Gary used this cream. We thought it was something to help us heal, but it was a steroid." And Gary said, "Yeah, I tried this cream, but he never tested positive for steroids or anything." And I know for a fact he didn't use steroids. Gary was a natural hitter, man. But one of the things I admire him most, guys he played with, always said he was a great guy and he helped my career. He helped me one way or another. I was more proud of him doing that than obviously being in the Hall of Fame or what the writers say. A lot of times players get labeled, and if you don't know the players, and then you get to meet him, it's a different guy. But when the teammates that he played with tell me he was great in the clubhouse, he was great with us, took care of the clubhouse kids, took care of the rookies, that means a lot to me for what he's doing. And real quick with the bat wiggle you're saying, how you wiggle the bat.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we trained together. We lived in the same house. He's my sister's son. My sister had him very young. And my dad used to train us both when he was young. So my dad taught him this for timing. Hold on one second. Somebody's at my door. I'm sorry. Hold on.
No problem.
You're all right. One second. What's up, babe? What's up? One second. What's up? You're good. You're good. Come on. So my dad taught him. Sorry about that, guys.
No
My
problem.
dad taught him about wielding a bat, and it was for time. So in
That would have
1992,
been good to know.
yeah, I know, right? But you don't hate me when I finish telling the story. In '92, Gary gets traded to San Diego, right from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Every time I face Gary, I'll tell the catcher, whether it's Todd Huntley or Charlie O'Brien, don't put down a sign until I nod my head because I want to see what you're doing at the bat.
Oh my
Once he does, so I had no
God.
problem with Gary. I got him out and everything. But he killed everybody else. And they were like, "Doc, what's the difference? What are you facing? What do you see?" I said, "I don't know, man. I'm just getting lucky because he's still family.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give
Smart.
it." So, Pulse, if you're still up, then I wouldn't have gave it to you. I'm sorry, brother. Because he's
Ah,
still family.
that's incredible. He hit a foul off of me. He pulled the ball foul off of me in Dodger Stadium.
Yes.
in the foul territory, left field foul territory, that damn near went out of the stadium. It was upper deck
Wow.
in foul territory. He was so out ahead of something.
Yep.
Yeah,
He has some
It was
pop,
that
crazy.
man.
He was
that's
a
a
hell of a hitter. I'm going to tell you what, the fact that the good positive things you said about him that had to do with the clubhouse and off the field, that's a testament to you helping him grow up as a young man too, Doc.
Yep. Thank you.
100%.
Yep.
that's a great
Thank
story, and
you. Yes, sir.
I guess not tipping your pitches or tipping your I don't even know how that
Tipping your
relate
swing.
your swing.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I've never,
Yes.
but it worked for you. So
Yes,
that's
definitely.
uh, I wanted Bill had told me you had a story, and I wanted to get into it just in case we run out of time.
All right.
I'm going to parlay this because you
Yeah.
mentioned how Gary was a great teammate and all his teammates loved him, right? So, Bill, if you could help me out here, there's a little correlation about Gary Carter,
Yeah.
who had, rumors about his personality off the field, on the field, all that kind of stuff. And I actually knew Gary pretty well for 1 year when I was with the Long Island Ducks.
Yes.
He was the manager, and he was a great guy, loved him. But Bill, I think the whole good guy, and like Sheffield, perfect time to maybe get the story.
Well, but the story, you told me a story in camp 2 years ago about prior to the All-Star game, you wanting to get to know Gary Carter because you wanted to see what type of guy he was because you weren't sure you believed that he was such a nice guy. And if you can tell that story real quick about what happened when you guys got to the All-Star game and before you guys made the start, and he caught you obviously in an All-Star game for the first time.
Yeah, so Gary, when he's with Montreal, you go to Montreal before games after they hit. Now when our team's hitting, he's signing autographs. He's doing every interview. He's smiling all the time, always smiling. Talking to the kids. Hey, Doc, always in good mood. So I'm thinking this guy can't be real. I mean, that's got to be fake.
Yeah.
And him and Keith Hernandez, they didn't get along too well. So I'm like, man, this guy, this fake. So I threw one up his chin a couple of times. But then in the All-Star game, I make the All-Star team, and I come out of the bullpen after Fernando, and he's catching me. And he come out to the mound, and I'm nervous. I mean, I'm talking to Howard Cosell, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And now I get in the game, and I'm sweating bullets. Gary's catching me, so I strike out the three guys that I faced. And after that, I go in, and Gary say, wouldn't this be nice to do every fifth day? Not knowing that, was going to trade for Gary. So now, in November, we make the trade for Gary, go to spring training, and he's still doing the same thing. But we go out, and Gary's a tough guy. He comes to my wedding and all that stuff. But the thing was, Gary, I mean, he does all that off the field, like smiling, talk to every reporter. On the field, he's an animal. I mean, he's an animal. And the thing I admire, I don't know if I tell you the same story, Paul. You might have to help me a little bit. But the thing I admire most about Gary, he would catch me between starts where normally Mel Stoudemire would catch us, or the bullpen catcher catches, or the backup catcher. Gary wanted to catch me between starts every time. And
Wow.
being a catcher, you're dealing with 5 different personalities. One guy you might have to pat on the butt. One guy you got to get in his face. One guy you got to make himself feel better. Whatever. Gary knew how to do that. With me, Gary wanted 10 plus strikeouts every game. He wanted the shutout. He wanted a complete game. He didn't care if I was up 8-0 or down, whatever. He demanded nothing but dominance out of me. Not to disrespect other hitters or anything like that, but if we got a couple runs early, Gary wanted me out on the mound as quick as possible. Between innings, he would talk to me, and he just wanted me to dominate. And it was crazy because he come up, come on, Doc, stop, messing around, effing around. Let's go. And I'm looking at the scoreboard. I'm like, it's 8-0. It's the 7th inning. What are you talking about? But he just wanted me to dominate because, again, it sounds weird talking about myself, but in '85, the games I pitched, it was bigger than just a game. It's more media there. The games were sold
It
out.
was Doc Day.
Yeah, Doc Dan, people wanted to see that. And Gary was into that. He knew how to get the best out of you. And I admire a lot about Gary. Even as he got older in '88, '89, when his knees started going out on him, he would get to the ballpark at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to get treatment on his knees to catch the 7 o'clock game. Then after the game, he'd to the ballpark to 1 in the morning, getting ice and the treatment, all that to go home. This guy just wanted to catch me. It was unbelievable, but what a connection, and I miss him dearly. And April 14th, I'm going to have his wife there. Sandy
Oh,
was going to be
that's
there, too. I'm going to have her on the field with me.
fantastic. That is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But just a super, super nice guy. And
Gone too soon.
yes,
Yes.
who would have thought with the team we had, he would be the guy to go first on that team. The one guy that didn't drink or do nothing,
Right.
didn't run the streets, and he left us way too soon.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, That I'm amazed from that story. I took one thing out. That is crazy. He caught you in between starts. Like,
Yes.
his knees were a problem at the end of his
That's
career.
dedication, man.
That's
He loved
unbelievable.
you, Doc. He
He
loved
didn't
you,
want
man.
he didn't want nobody to
Yeah,
catch me. He wanted to be down there catch me. I mean, that's just
yeah,
much he dedicated. And I mean, he demanded the best out of me, and they helped me. He didn't want me
yeah,
to just settle for just being where I was at. He wanted every night dominance.
yeah. That's
Beautiful.
crazy. You're a legend. Gary was a legend, and for him to do that, that's just amazing to hear because you never hear that.
No,
Um,
sure.
so uh, I'm gonna we're gonna maybe go through a couple quick questions, and
All
then
right.
we're gonna get to our mailbag. We had some fans of yours wrote in to us on Twitter,
Yes.
and they had some questions for you. But before
Okay.
we do get into the mailbag real quick. I just wanted to get to Shea Stadium for real quick. You
Okay.
obviously pitched there the majority of your career. Did you have any favorite like nuances or like things that was unique to you from Shea Stadium that you remember?
Only thing I have from Shea was uh not really from the stadium when they knocked it down. I still have some of my jerseys and bats, that I have here, but I didn't keep anything from the stadium.
Oh, I meant like pitching there. I meant like
Oh,
actually,
for his
yeah,
pitching.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, good. Like
Thing about
actually
me to
on the
this day.
mound and whatever.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got you. The one thing that sticks to me more, and I'll talk about it to the fans that I like. Anytime I got two strikes on a batter, everybody in the stands was standing up clapping, wanting to strike out. And when I see fans, I tell them that worked to my advantage because if I throw a close pitch, I knew I didn't have to throw a strike, but just throw it close. If they didn't call it, they was gonna let the umpire know. I mean, that's gonna give them a lot of heat about it. And the hitter don't want to go down looking, so anything close, they're gonna swing. So that basically worked to my advantage, and I
Yeah.
always take that with me at home at Shea Stadium, and
And
that was one of the things that kept me going.
you were thinking that at that age all the way back then, huh?
Oh yeah,
That's
and that's the
awesome, man.
thing. I had to get credit, a lot of credit. Like all I knew was baseball. Like if I had to do something else, I'll be lost. My
Right.
dad taught me baseball. I mean, that's all we did. Like he
That's
coached
all.
little league, semi-pro, softball, everything. I would follow him around. On Saturdays, we're watching the game of the week. And because I lived in Tampa, we listened to the Braves on the radio every night. We're right there. I got my chips and juice. He got his beer and chips or whatever. And we just watched. That's all I knew. And I knew that I could use that to my advantage. And umpires, certain umpires, there was a strike umpire. Like, remember Frank Pulley?
Frank Pulley,
Punch.
the
Yeah.
best, the
He was the
best.
best at punch. He wanted to punch. And what's the little guy? Dutch, I think. Dutch. Remember
Dutch
little Dutch?
Reynolds. Yeah.
Those guys, they wanted to strike out. And so I picked it up from them. And then as I went through the league, the umpires, and the umpires, believe it or not, they get caught up in that too.
Absolutely.
They get caught
Absolutely.
up in that. They want to bring
It's
guys up.
the
So
human factor for sure.
that's right. And so I
Yeah.
just use that to my advantage. And
Yeah.
these guys,
No.
Absolutely. That's outstanding. Great
Shea,
stuff.
Shea
yes,
was
sir.
always Shea was rocking.
Shea was
Jay
great,
was
man.
rocking.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Real quick, players that you admired growing up as a child, Doc Gooden, and then players maybe right now or recent that you look to, or pitchers. Pitchers or players, I guess.
Right.
Obviously, you're a pitcher.
Right.
Where you were a child, teenager, and
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Anyone stand out to you?
Oh yeah. So I'll go back to my childhood. Nolan Ryan was my guy. Obviously, power pitcher, the high leg kick. I kind of got that from him a little bit.
Nasty curveball.
Nasty curveball, and Pete Rose was my favorite. And only because when I was 9 years old, I used to go to all the Cincinnati Red games. They had spring training in Tampa, and my dad used to tip the parking attendant so we could park in the players lot.
Wow.
One day we're walking out. I'm like 9 years old. True story. I'm walking out, and Pete Rose there. My dad said, "Hey, there's Pete." And then he says, "Pete, can my son get a picture with you?" My dad had one of those old Polaroid cameras, the instant camera where you take the picture, you slide the picture out. Take the picture with Pete. Pete told me, he goes, "Hey, kid, keep working hard. Maybe one day you'll be with us." Fast forward 10 years later, we open up in Cincinnati in '84. Pete's come over. He don't know I'm that same kid. He's telling me the story, like, good luck. Wish you all the best. You had a good minor career. And I was telling him the story about when I met him. Obviously, he didn't remember. But that summer when they came to play in New York, my dad brought the picture up. And I had
Holy
Pete sign
shit.
that picture. And I still have that picture. And the beauty
Wow.
about that, today, me and Pete are good friends. I have his number, actually. But when I'm around Pete, I'm still like that little kid comes out.
Yeah.
Just like me when I get around you, Doc. Same
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Same
Then
shit.
I would say, and my players now, I would say Lindor is probably my favorite. Like obviously Harvey was my guy and DeGrom, but right now I would say Lindor because he plays every day,
Yeah, he
every
does.
day, whether you like him or not. And I tell players, even little league players, look at it as a privilege to play, to put that big league uniform on and play because somebody had to pave the way for you, and there's so many kids out there with a handicap or whatever don't get the opportunity. So you got to look at it as a privilege and playing. And Lindor, I think he gets that.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
love Lindor. He's a gamer. He shows up no matter what.
No matter what, he's
So
out there every day. And playing shortstop, that's a tough position to be in every day.
yeah.
And then he stands right at his locker after games and answers questions for the New York media. You can't
Yeah,
ask for anything more than he gives.
that's true. That's what it's all about, man.
Right on. Yeah. One more before we get to the mailbag. We got a couple questions. So,
Okay.
because obviously your numbers going up to the rafters and everything like that. How did 16 come about for you? Was it a favorite number? Was it given to you? Is there a story?
You guys did your homework. This is great. So,
Oh yeah.
anyway, I used to wear number 10 in high school. I get drafted in '82, and like when you drafted in the first pick, post probably say they call us bonus babies when you're the number one
Yeah,
pick.
yeah.
And I get to
Huh.
Kingsport, and they got a guy there, Russ Oric. I'll never forget him. He had been in rookie ball like 3 years, and he had number 16. So I said, any chance I get that number? He goes, get out of here. I don't care if you're an effing bonus baby. You're not getting this number.
Oh
So
man.
I asked the equipment guy, give me anything close to. I'm sorry, number 10. He had 10. And I
10.
asked for 10, and he didn't want to give it up. So I said to the clubhouse guy, can I get something close to number 10, but not 13? So he gave me 16. So I kept 16. The next year I go to A ball, I get 16. But when I went AAA, I got 28. Now I make the team. I was 64 in spring training of '84. I make the team, and Charlie Samuels posts, Charlie. So he's got my jersey hang up. He's got number 35 with Gooden on the back, right? So once I made the team, Frank Cashin, the general manager, said, if I got any problem with anybody, come see him, let him know. So I went to Charlie. I said, Charlie is 35. I said, can I get number 16? He goes, get out of here, kid. Just be happy on the team.
Oh god.
That's your number. You got your number. So me, like a little kid, like I used to go in David's office, I went to Frank Cashin. I said, I want number 16, but Charlie won't give it to me. He went down there and said, Charlie, give him whatever number he wants. But Charlie didn't want to give me 16 because him and Lee Mazzilli was good friends, and Mazzilli had wore 16 for so many years.
Uh,
And he didn't want to give it to me, but then he gave it to me. And Mazzilli came back in '86, and I offered it back to Mazzilli, and Mazzilli said, no, that's your number now. And so
wow.
Fantastic.
it was one of those situations where you offer the number back, but you're hoping he say no.
Right. Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
what
that's
you
how I ended up with 16, and it just worked out.
That's
great.
awesome.
That's another great story. Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tremendous.
So right now we're going to go into our mailbag.
Okay.
Okay. So we asked on Twitter, Shea_hello is our handle for fans to throw in some questions for you.
All
And
right.
there were a lot, but we can't go through all of them. So Bill and I picked a couple,
Okay.
4 in total. So we're just going to go right into the mailbag. These are from fans and asking you directly.
Okay.
So here we go.
All
Without
right.
further ado, usually I do this with Bill, and all the questions are for Bill.
All right.
But today it's for Doc. So we'll start with Bill's buddy, JK, NYMGI. He asked Doc, I was wondering, besides Gary Carter, what catchers did you enjoy pitching to?
Well, I would say I'll give you two. Charlie O'Brien was one of my favorites as well. Great guy, calls a great game, communicates well. And I like catchers that like to talk to me, communicate. Like if I'm not batting, they're not batting. When they out talking, what's working, how we gonna approach the next hitters, and his setup. I mean, great target.
Yep.
Calls. Yeah, we're always on the same page. And then the other one I have to say Joe Girardi because the only no hitter I threw, he caught it.
Oh, yeah.
I got to go with Girardi. And
And I got that poster signed, personalized, Doc.
yeah, that's
That
right.
Vinny got for me. You know what? I love that you said Charlie O'Brien because you pitched to two guys that I think had two of the best targets that I've ever seen.
Oh man,
and
100%.
Charlie O'Brien and Gary Carter, just
Yes.
tremendous targets. And nowadays, because you watch what they don't show the target anymore.
They don't
right?
show the target.
It's
They're down
much
on one
different.
knee. I don't understand that stuff.
Yeah.
Analytics
we
stuff
got
is
to
changing
get
the whole
moving. Go
game.
ahead. But I love that. I love that you said the target, the word target, because Casey and I have had this conversation
Oh,
about
yeah.
pitching. So
Yeah,
I love that. I
pitching.
love
You
that you
gotta
said
have that, man. Definitely. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you for the question, NYMGI. We'll move to Jimmy Lags. He goes, so cool. Hey, Doc, how did you develop the best curveball I've ever seen in my life?
I got to credit to my dad. My dad was, and one thing I regret before my father passed, to find out where did he get his knowledge from because he grew up in Georgia. My dad had a third grade education. He had to get a job and all that stuff, but he self-taught himself how to write, read. He taught my mom the same thing, but he loved baseball. And like I say, he taught Gary by the stance, the bat thing, timing, and taught me about pitching. He felt like it was how you throw opposed to what you throw for his mechanics. Like I was 9 years old, my dad taught me a curveball where I wouldn't teach a kid how to throw a curveball at 9 years old because ligaments are still developing, muscles still developing. But he taught me that curveball since I was 9 years old because he
Wow.
thought if your mechanics is right, you'll be fine. And I mean, I was fine, and it worked that way. So my dad taught me the curveball, taught me the grip, taught me everything about the release point, the high leg kick. He taught me all that as well. So all the credit goes to my dad.
Awesome.
Goes to your dad. Good question. Great answer. We'll move to Stacy, Hustle Diva 1. She's got a two-parter.
All right.
So she goes two-parter. One, having won the 1992 Silver Slugger Award, how much emphasis did you place on hitting while being so dominant as a pitcher?
That's a great question. I used to love to hit. Coming up as a kid, I wanted to be a hitter, but my dad thought I was going to be a better as a pitcher because of my size, which he was right. Pitching my ticket, but I used to love to hit. I took a lot of pride in my hitting. We used to like when we were going on the road. A lot of us would go out early to take BP. Mel would let us hit the day before we pitch. We'll go in the cages certain days and hit. And a lot of times when I was pitching, I would say, "Man, if I can get through this inning, I get to hit again." So I would look at it that
Ah,
way a lot of times. So I played both parts. And I would play games in my own head that when I was in the batter's box, I wasn't a pitcher, I was a hitter because that was always my dream. So I took it very, very serious, even like bunting, running bases, the whole 9 yards. And I had 8 home runs, so I loved
yeah,
it. Yes,
yeah. Do you
You could
have?
hit. You could hit for
Yeah,
sure.
I used to love
I
to hit.
You
remember.
stood on the wrong side of the plate though, but you could hit.
Yep, there you go. That's true.
You
Off.
could switch hit a little bit too, right? Didn't you hit right-handed in the big leagues at
Yeah, I
some
hit right
point
hand a
in
little
time?
bit. Yeah,
Yep.
Sutcliffe hit me. I hit Sandberg, and then Sutcliffe hit me in my arm. I had to come out of the game, and then Davis, that's it. You just batting righty from now on.
I remember that. I remember
Yep.
that.
So I'm like, man, okay, but it was fun. Hitting is fun.
Yeah. Her second part of her two-part question. Uh, Out of all the accolades in your career, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, Silver Slugger, four-time All-Star, 16 games, complete games in 85, which of those, and the 16 games she points out is rarity, complete games now these days, out of all those accolades, what are you the most proud of?
I would probably say the 16 complete games because that year I had the 16 complete games. I pitched 4 9 inning shelves that same year where I got no decisions. Would have been 20 complete games. So definitely going complete games. That was my thing because when I started, my pride and goal was to try to complete the games best I can to get a team a chance to win.
Yeah. Wow.
Fantastic.
Great questions, and again,
Yep.
great answers.
Oh, definitely, yes.
And we'll move to the final question of the mailbag. And
All right.
again, if you're listening on all podcast platforms where we have audio, drop us a like, comment, and of course subscribe. Say Hello Media on YouTube, and of course we do the mailbag every podcast. Last question, Doc. You ready?
Yes.
It's another two-parter. Uh,
Okay.
you've met him. He's at Fantasy Camp. Avid listener of this podcast. Hey, Doc. He's Jeff Cohen. Writes in 1984 and 85. Your teams were in a race with the Cubs and the Cardinals. Which was more intense to play against?
The Cardinals, the Cubs in '84. We had a young team. We hadn't got Carter yet, and a lot of guys coming. Like I was getting experience, not knowing if I was ready yet. It was Strawberry's second year, so we had a very young team. But within a race, we finished second. Back then, there was no wild card or whatever, and we knew our team was coming. We was coming. It was close, but in '85 against the Cardinals, we was right there to the end. We had to sweep them in the last series, but we lost in one game. But we won 98 games that year and had to go home. So
Oh man,
that gave us a whole lot of experience, and the fans started coming to the game. We knew '86 was going to be our year because of what
yeah,
happened in '85. But '85 more intense. We had a lot of fights with the Cardinals.
right,
We had shared the same spring training complex with the Cardinals. A
That's
lot of
right.
fights, a lot of big games with the Cardinals. So they became our rivalry, and
Yeah.
that was definitely more intense.
And they were a heck of a ball club around that
Oh
time
man.
too. Yeah.
And I hate it because one of my weaknesses was holding runners on, and when I faced them at Bush Stadium, it was a track meet. I mean, it was
oh
ugly. Yeah, with Coleman and McGee and these guys,
Yeah,
man, it was
yeah.
crazy.
yeah. So yeah, Cardinals. I remember big rivalry there.
Yes, sir.
Is it true? Off topic. Davey said opening day or spring training back after '85, where you won all those games, didn't make the playoffs. Did he say we're winning it all this year? And that
And
speech,
we're
all
gonna win it
that.
by a big margin. What happened? Like when you go to spring training, normally the general manager talks. He introduces the manager introduces the coaching staff and the trainers, whatever. David was the only voice. He said, "Look, this is our year. We're gonna win it, and we're gonna win it by a big margin." We basically won it, and still had September to go.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So he kind of manifested it, and he was right.
Yes, yes,
He
All
yep.
knew
right.
what he had.
Yeah,
Oh
he
yeah.
did. He sure did. And his second part of his two-parter, he goes to fantasy camp where Bill and you were, there as coaches and legends and all that. His
Yep.
question is, how much do you enjoy fantasy camp? I was there 1 year. It was the best time of my life. Congrats on number 16 being retired.
Oh man, I love it. Last year I made my 10th straight year to let you know how much I love it.
Wow.
I enjoy it just as much as those guys. You meet new friends. You get to see a lot of guys you play with, a lot of guys you played against. And like I say, it's like a family. It really is. And I'm not just talking, but it's 2 weeks. I go there for 2 weeks every year. It's a good break. I love the game. I love talking baseball. And those guys are really your true fans. I mean, those guys love it. And to hang out with them at night, we do different events. Kangaroo Court is my favorite. And it's just a great time. And we have fun. We bust each other's chops. And just be there. And it brings back a lot of memories when we played. Obviously, we out helping them. But it's just fun putting a uniform on again and hang around like posting these guys who I didn't get to play with, but getting to know them personally, know their families. That's what it's all about, and I look forward to it every year.
And even better, you get to hang out with the one, the only Bill Pulsifer.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's what it's
yeah,
about.
yeah.
And I'm telling you, he keeps everybody loose, man. I'm glad he's down there. I look forward to seeing him every time. That's what you got
Yeah.
to have, somebody that keeps it loose and bringing that positive energy every day.
Thank
Yeah.
you,
That's what it's
thank
all
you.
about.
I'm blessed. I count myself blessed to be able to go down there every year and put the uniform on, just like you said, and
Yep.
get to see the fans. Like you said, these are true fans. They love us, and
That's
we
right.
love them, and it is a family, and it's a
That's
special
right.
thing.
That's right. It is.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so that wraps up the mailbag.
Right.
Before we say our goodbyes, Bill, I wanted to ask you, uh, at fantasy camp or wherever it might be, how cool is this? I mean, I know we talked about it earlier in the podcast. It would be like me and DeGrom, like Doc said.
Yeah,
Doc's a legend. You don't just get your number retired for no reason. For you, we do our podcast every week, and like Doc said, right on the money, he keeps the podcast loose. I'm the one, with all the questions and ruffling
All
feathers,
right.
and Bill, joking around. So,
Okay.
my question, Bill, how cool is this? I mean, Doc, you light up the room. You're a legend. Bill, again, just how cool.
well, obviously, the words really can't describe it. You have to act normal when you get around your idol,
Yeah.
and luckily now through fantasy camp, we've got to know each other a little bit more, and I'm a little more comfortable. I've always been comfortable, but a little more see him as a brother and as a peer, as opposed to just the unicorn that he is. Because this is very, very special for me. It's very, very special for a lot of people. And Doc Gooden has meant a lot for a lot of people, and he means a lot to me. And this is very, very special. And I want to thank you very much, Doc, for coming on here and spending the time with us. And it truly is special for me to be able to call you a friend.
That's right. I appreciate the kind words, man. Feelings are mutual.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank
You're
you.
a good man.
Well,
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, buddy.
well put, Bill. That's going to do it for episode 24. Doc, you were our first guest, and we did it. We waited perfectly. We couldn't have a better guest than you.
Wow.
So
Thank you.
I want to genuinely, sincerely thank you for coming on the Shea Low podcast. And I can't wait for your number to get up there and be immortalized forever. You are a true Mets legend. Do you have any final words for the fans that are listening right now? Anything you want to get out?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. Good luck with you guys' podcast. You guys did a great job. You guys made me feel comfortable. And for the fans, keep watching. These guys know the game and they do the inside work, and they're doing a great job. And I'm definitely gonna be a fan of you guys' show now. And for the fans, I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys on the 14th. For the ones who can be there and the ones who can't be there, I'm sure you'll be there in spirit. This wouldn't be happening without the support you guys are giving me. So I really appreciate you.
Well put, well put. Well, again, that's going to wrap up episode 24. I want to thank Doc Gooden for joining us. Of
Yes,
course,
sir.
Bill Pulsifer, my co-host, Stephen White, behind the scenes, our producer. And get there on, what is it, the 14th of April to
Yes, sir.
see that number 16 go up there forever.
Sir.
All right.
So that should be great. So for Stephen White, Bill Pulsifer, Doc Gooden, I am Casey Lynn, and I am saying so long until the next episode.
All right. Thank you guys.
All right, Doc. Sorry to keep you,
All right.
bud.
No, you good. Appreciate you, brother. Love you.